you guys hear me okay? Two people watching. I appreciate you guys joining me this morning for this live stream. This is a very important update regarding Enosys Global, and it is time sensitive. So I need you guys to like the video, share it, get it out there so people can see this and make sure that they are able to make an informed decision when it comes to Enosys Global, okay? So let's go ahead and jump into this because I don't have a lot of time. Follow me on Twitter at RPUReloaded to get my latest updates and retweet the things that I think are interesting in the crypto space. Now, I've been watching, I've been on the Twitter, uh, you know, watching people on Twitter, talk about Enosys Global, right? And the HLN FLR swaps are about to open, right? And there's been a lot of FUD thrown around saying that people should announce when the swaps are going to be open. The Enosys team has been saying that they didn't want to announce it because they wanted to make it like fair for everyone. When the swaps were open, so everyone would have a chance to, swap in and out of FLR and HLN if they wanted to. And there's also been talks of people using bots, having bots set up to swap as soon as the swaps are open on this liquidity pool. And they can see the bots on chain. Right now, the price of HLN in the liquidity pool is around $18.28. And there are people who cannot wait for these swaps to open on this HLN FLR liquidity pool so they can take the liquidity out of the pool and, sell it and make a profit or whatever they're trying to do, right? And so instead of just leaving people in the dark, the Nasimos, Bannock, the team at Enosys have given everyone a heads up about the pools are about to be open in a couple of hours from now. This information was dropped yesterday, but I'm trying to get this information out right now so people will know, what's about to happen. So Thanasimos says, please share the information in this post with anyone you know who has entered the HLN FLR liquidity pool so that they can make fully informed decisions. We understand everyone's impatience during this process, but thank you for bearing with us. Launching new markets is not a simple task and there will be a lot of moving pieces, but data collection helps us to better inform our planning. What is he talking about? Hugo Filion also said, please read and consider your actions. In my opinion, this is a responsible position for the ecosystem from Bannock. What are they talking about? So this is from Bannock right here. He says, as I have often said, we are a data-driven company and platform. The HLN FLR liquidity pool launch has netted us some very useful data. Reaching a peak of 3 million total value locked pre-trading at that swap ratio has allowed us to gauge interest and adjust launch strategy to best ensure a smooth launch. So thank you to everyone who has been participating. We have also seen a small group of FPSO data provider related accounts that have set up multiple trading bots. You see that right there? Multiple trading bots, which are even now spamming approvals to the liquidity pool, looking to immediately sell into the liquidity pool. So yeah, man, there's some collusion going on. there's some bots. People got multiple bots set up, and they cannot wait for these pools to open so they can dump on everybody. That's crazy. This presents a elevated short-term risk to current liquidity pool participants that we want to ensure the community understands. We are giving at least an additional 24 hours for users to process this information and make an updated risk assessment of their stakes in the HLN/FLR liquidity pool ahead of trading opening and initial price discovery. Based on this information, please make the best decision for yourself with a complete understanding of the risk involved. Thank you all for working with us to make this a successful launch on FLR. Bannock says caution is the reason we made this announcement as well. I would like to remind that the vote power ratio of the tokens in our ecosystem is 1,000 1 abscess to 10,000 HLN. So FLR community says, what does this mean? Well, it means that if you're in the liquidity pool at the time trading opens and automated sell orders reduce the price of HLN, you will have more HLN but much less FLR. This is called impermanent loss. Final piece of advice. Before providing liquidity, know what providing liquidity is and only do so if you are happy with the ratio. So guys, the HLN/FLR liquidity pool, the swaps are about to open on that pool. And there are people who have multiple bots set up where as soon as these pools open, they're going to immediately sell into the liquidity pool and dump on us, right? They're going to be selling their HLN for FLR, taking the FLR out, and doing whatever who knows with it, right? Possibly swapping it for USDT and selling it or whatever. They might just hold on to the FLR. But if you're in the liquidity pool at the time that the swaps are open and these guys dump on you, sell their HLN for FLR, you will, if you're providing liquidity, your supply of HLN will go up and your supply of FLR may go down. It's called impermanent loss, right? And yeah, so a lot of people are looking to sell as soon as this pool swaps open. The price of HLN on Blaze Swap is $1.18, right? But in the liquidity pool on the DEX, FLRX, the price of HLN is like $18.28. And so there's a lot of people that are looking to take advantage of that arbitrage and sell their HLN, and probably take the money and run. And if you're in the pool providing liquidity, you could suffer from impermanent loss. You'll end up with more HLN and less FLR. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, who worked hard for their FLR. There are some people, and they don't want to suffer impermanent loss. There are some people who probably don't care, and they'll probably want more HLN. But at the end of the day, it's up to you what you do with your FLR and your HLN and providing liquidity and all that. I'm just trying to get the information out there so people can make informed decisions because these swaps are going to go live in the next couple of hours. So Zuber says, I like Enosys in general and have been following them since the beginning. I do, whoever think that the ratio that was set between HLN and FLR is too high and will cause quite a bit of damage to liquidity pool providers. I hope to be wrong though. Then Asmos replied to him and said, you may very well be right. Now they know they have at least 24 hours to make that decision. I'm sure you know that I have always advised caution and risk assessment when providing liquidity. So yeah, all of this happened yesterday. So the pools could open up today in the next couple of hours, and they wanted me to get the information out there as soon as possible because I know a lot of you guys that are subscribed to my channel are, you guys like Enosys, you guys are in Enosys, whether that's farming or staking. This specifically has to do with HLN and FLR on the FLR network. So Odin Crypto responded to Thanasimos and asked, "So your loss can come to the pool?" Thanasimos says there was always a major risk of price discovery. Yeah, because like I said, the price of Helion right now on BlazeSwap is $1.18. Is that the real price? I don't know. But on the DEX, on FlareX, the price of Helion right now is $18.28. And there are a lot of people that are going to dump their Helion because they want to take advantage of the price right now, you know? I mean, at least, I'm telling you guys, I'm trying to get the information out there, If I was a messed up person, I wouldn't have just told anybody and I would have just tried to do like these people do and sold my Helion and dumped on everybody else. But that's not what I'm trying to do, man. I'm in the ecosystem for the long haul. And so I'm hoping that Helion doesn't dump like XFi did. But if it does, at least if I get out of the liquidity pool, I won't suffer from the impermanent loss because I worked hard for my flare. I don't want to lose my flare. It all depends on what you want to do, and I want to hear from you guys. Um, what are you guys planning to do? Are you planning on leaving your Helion and your flare in the liquidity pool and just letting it ride, or are you planning on pulling out, waiting for all these people to sell and for price discovery and then jump back in? Now, let's continue. So Odin Crypto says, so is it better to get out, but then it will implicate with the rest of the airdrops? Better to leave it in the single pool? Denasimo says the single pool is always a safe bet if you just want to hold tokens. So if you want to protect yourself from impermanent loss, you could pull your tokens out of the Helion Flare liquidity pool. You could stake your Helion in the single staking pool in Flare Farms, and then you could delegate your Flare to the FTSOs outside of Enosys. You could just delegate them inside the Bifrost wallet if you want to. That would be a safer thing, while you wait for these guys to sell in and out of this pool and, until the price of Helion stabilizes and then you can jump back in. That's probably what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to just pull my Flare and my Helion out, stake my Helion in the single staking pool, and then just delegate my Flare to the FTSOs in my Bifrost wallet and wait for all this bullshit to blow over. Best FTSO says, here is the proof of the bot funder's identity, and it's not us. So yeah, he provided a address on Etherscan showing that there's somebody out there that's got bots set up ready to sell into the liquidity pool as soon as the swaps open and dump on everybody else. And he says, Bannock, you want to take back those accusations? I mean, some people were accusing Best FTSO, of, the setting up the bots and stuff. And they're probably blaming him because of the collusion that was going on with the FTSO providers and Songbird and all of that. That's why you got to make sure your reputation is straight out here. Because once it goes sour, people they have this stigma on you. I'm not saying he's proven that it's not him though. And Thanasimos responded to Best FTSO and said, Nick, I never said it was you. No one on the team ever said it was you. AI Ken says, pretty sure you implied this the other day, but Thanasimos says, definitely not. I specifically stated that Jerry wasn't a good enough dev to set up a bot without the ABI and a start time. Not sure why he decided to inject himself into the conversation at all. Maybe he felt a little guilty, I don't know. But he's saying that it wasn't him. AI Ken says, from a third-person perspective, I'd say that this is a derogatory statement to make from you. Why is he not a good enough developer, and what's with addressing on a first-name basis? Neutrality is far superior to going on the offense. Thanasimo says, really don't want to get into it again, regardless of his obsessive attempts to insert himself into our platform. But my comment was in response to your assertion that I implied that he was running the bot, which was untrue for stated reasons. Yeah, well, somebody is running the bot, okay? And somebody that's running the bot cannot wait for these swaps to open so they can sell into the pool and dump on everybody else. And that's why, I'm trying to get this information out there so you will have a chance, if you want to pull your tokens out of the liquidity pool, the HLN liquidity pool, and that way you won't suffer from impermanent loss. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, man, like this video, share this video, get it out there, because these swaps are going to open in the next couple of hours, and I wouldn't want anybody to get wrecked if they didn't have to. Crypto Clive Alive says, interesting that more people seem to be entering the liquidity pool since the announcement, probably hoping to get a higher rate for the next 24 hours. Rate is currently going down. Thanasimo says, yeah, never underestimate the profit-chasing capabilities of the true degenerate. Crypto Clive Alive says, I will be respectfully leaving the pool. Appreciate the heads up, and I will be back. Thanasimo says, long road ahead of us, plenty of time. 3-Rig Chico says, how come in that page it shows $1 plus per HLN, but when trying to do the liquidity pool, it asks for $20 worth of flare? That's why, because I'm not sure, or this is the price on Blaze Swap, right? The price on Blaze Swap for HLN is $1.17, but the price on the Flare X Dex is $18.28 last time I checked. I knew I wasn't crazy, right? And because of this, there's probably not a lot of liquidity on Blaze Swap, I'm not sure. But because of the price discrepancy, a lot of people are going to be going to the Flare X Dex to try to sell, to take advantage of the price. And by them doing that, dumping large amounts of HLN, a lot of people that are providing liquidity in that pool could suffer from impermanent loss. I don't know how much impermanent loss they could suffer from, right? But when XFi first came out, the price of XFi was like $10 or $15, right? I watched the price go from $15 to like $1, then dropped to 90 cents, and then I jumped in. I bought a lot of XFi at like 90 cents, right? Now the price of HLN is like 11 cents. So I'm telling you that there's going to be price discovery when it comes to the price of HLN. I don't think it's going to stay at $18. Will it drop down to 11 cents like XFi did? I don't know. But you have an opportunity to take your tokens out of the liquidity pool right now so you don't suffer from impermanent loss. Because if you got a lot of flare, the flare to HLN ratio is kind of skewed right now because of the price of HLN. But if people start selling their HLN for flare, you may lose some of your flare tokens and you may end up with more HLN. Now, depending on how you want to play this, you may see that as a good thing. We got flare drops for the next 2.5 years or whatever. You might say, yeah, give me the HLN and I'll recoup the flare on a couple of drops. Some other people might say, nah, I worked too hard for my flare. I don't want to lose any of my flare. I'm going to take my flare and HLN out of the liquidity pool. It just depends on you, though. But I'm telling you that what's about to happen. Okay? The liquidity pool, the swaps are going to open up on the HLN flare liquidity pool. And there are people that are out here who have bots set up to sell into the liquidity pool as soon as it opens. Okay? And by doing that, they're going to be swapping their Helion and taking the flare out, and you may be left with more Helion than you had and less flare that you had when you provided liquidity. Does that make sense? So yeah, guys, make sure you get this video out there, like this video, share this video, because there are a lot of people that are in these liquidity pools right now, and they need to be able to know what's going on so they can make an informed decision on what they want to do with their tokens. Because I don't want anybody to get mad at me saying, why didn't you tell me this was going to happen? You know, like, I'm telling you guys so you guys will know, you know, giving you guys the heads up so you will know what's going to happen and what you decide on what you want to do. I'm excited to hear from you guys on what you guys plan to do. Do you plan on leaving your tokens in the liquidity pool and letting it ride? Or are you planning on taking your tokens out of the liquidity pool and waiting for price discovery to happen for Helion and then jumping back in? Alright, let me know. Last but not least, the Nasimos says if you decide to exit your liquidity pool position, remember that you have to actually remove the liquidity, not just remove from the farm. Same thing if you decide to enter at any time. Okay? So yeah, not only do you have to remove your liquidity pool tokens from the farms, but you have to remove your tokens from the liquidity pool. Alright? I had to get this out there for you guys to let you guys know that the swaps are about to open on the HLNFLR liquidity pool. There's some people out there with bots set up who cannot wait to sell into this pool and dump on everybody else. And if you don't take action, then you may be left with a lot more Helion than flare that you had when you were providing liquidity. And we don't know how far the price of Helion is going to go down. You know, it could drop down to $1 from $18 to $1.17. It could drop down further than that. We don't know, but we're going to find out as soon as this pool opens. I mean, there are a lot of people who cannot wait, you know, to sell and just suck the liquidity out of this pool for whatever reason, to turn the flare into USDT and sell it or whatever. But I'm telling you this right now so you can have a chance, if you want to pull your tokens out of the liquidity pool. Me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my tokens out of the HLNFLR liquidity pool. I'm going to stake the rest of my Helion from that pool into the single staking pool in Enosys Farms. And then I'm just going to delegate my flare to the FPSOs inside my Bifrost wallet, you know, like we were originally doing, not inside of Enosys Global. I'm just going to do that, wait for all the bullshit to blow over, and then once it's good to jump back into the pool, then I will. And, you know, if you catch the pool at the bottom and the price of Helion starts going back up, you know, you may end up with more, you may end up with both more Helion and flare tokens. You know, you just got to catch the pool at the right time. But yeah, I just had to get this out there. I got 20 minutes left before I got to go back to work. So let me know what you guys think, man. Get this information out there. It's very important and it's time sensitive because the pools are going to open in the next couple of hours. All right. This is RPU, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.